All right, it is now 7:34, and I'll call meeting 1457 to order. At this time, I would like to welcome the online viewers, and a reminder that the gallery is open to public anytime anyone wishes to sit in the gallery for a public meeting. Agenda number 1457 in front of you. Are there any additions to the agenda? Hearing none, we shall move on. Minutes for regular meeting number 1456 are in front of you. Are there any errors or omissions noted? Hearing none, can I get a mover? Moved by Deputy Mayor Young, seconded by Councillor Hancock. Call for question. Hearing none, all those in favor. Motion carried. All right. Minutes for special meeting held on August 9th are in front of you. Can I get a mover to accept the minutes from the meeting, please?
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Jones, seconded by Deputy Mayor Young. Call for question. Hearing none. All those in favor. Motion carried. Business arising from the minutes. Is there any new business or any business arising from the minutes? Hearing. Oh, go ahead, Councillor Reed.
I just had somebody ask Saturday morning, our minutes to be uploaded to the website. They said that they were a little bit outdated, so I just wanted to let the public know that we were slightly delayed, but I think, Mayor, you had asked about that last meeting as well. We were going to get that done?
I thought we were all on.
Okay. As of Saturday morning, maybe not, but okay.
But they realized too that, like, that last one that got moved, that one
Has
was
to be ratified.
After this one's ratified. Okay.
The last one should be June right now.
Okay.
So we just approved July, so that'll go up after this meeting.
Okay, good points. Any other business arising from the minutes? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Is there any new business to add tonight? Hearing none, we shall move on to correspondence in front of you. SPNL Bank, regarding bank to school, for your information. Department of Transportation circular for your information. I have a SAM newsletter for your information, and Guide to Good free marketing session, August 23rd, so that is in 2 days' time. I guess the Chair of Economic Development, co-chair, if you guys or anyone in council actually want to spread that around for,
That's,
is that the one for off-season?
yeah, that's the
off-season?
ones for, it's for marketing,
Business.
like helping businesses market for their shoulder season of fall. So if you know anybody that's interested, I shared it on our Facebook. I'm not sure how many people is registered, but he'll be here on August 23rd, so I'm not sure
Okay. Probably
if it'll
share
help
again.
anybody else. I'll stick it out there again. But if you know of any like small business or whatever, that's kind of what they're promoting here.
Okay, because I was talking to, actually, I just mentioned it to a few tourists or Airbnb operators, I guess they're called, and they're interested. All right, so that can.
Could we do like an email out to small business? Do we have like an address
That's a
that we
great
could?
idea on business directory. What about that open, what was started in the last?
We
council?
don't have all the email addresses, so we went to we don't have access to the chamber laptop, but our business directory that would be online, if we could just create an email thread and blind CC everybody with those things that would come in, just to
Okay.
directly communicate with them, like the old fax machine faxes that you used to get.
Best
Stuff the
way.
mailbox. Yeah, stuff the mailbox, yeah.
Best way to do it. All right, great comments. Let me see here. Moving on to reports, finance, Councillor Freak, please.
Okay, so finance met on August 18th at 11 a.m. Councillor Fitzgerald, Councillor Freak, Town Clerk Lori Humphreys, Councillor Carrie Jones, and Town Manager Jason Young. Item number 1, town maps. We've been quoted on these, and we are going to go with the option of 450 plus tax. Just to quickly get these out, see how they go. Item number 2 is the annex progress payment number 20 for $200,671.37. Recommended approval. Item number 3 for core drilling for $2,062. This is a drill that's used on manholes to install service lines. Recommended approval. And I make a motion to accept the finance report.
All right, moved by Councillor Freak, seconded by
A second.
Councillor Jones. Call for question.
I just have a question about number 1. Do we have a timeline on the printing?
So our goal is now, once we have the quotes approved from tonight's meeting, our goal is probably going to be September. So I know we're going to be outside the majority of tourism season, but just add a little more. These are going to be 11 by 17 tabloid sized, and they'll be the placemat style maps, not the foldables. We're probably going to go with just a smaller quantity of 1,000 for these, we'll call them fall maps, because we want to get them out to the VICs, the hotels, the accommodators, and then ask them for some feedback.
Yeah.
I mean, the ultimate goal is to have the updated street network, the walking trail, and the ATV road route on the map. Many of the businesses have mentioned, and even our own staff, that the placemat style for doing directions and marking on are much easier than the foldables. Typically, the town has gone with sponsorship, but right now we just want to get these maps out to the VICs as quickly as possible, get their feedback, and probably go back and either retender or requote in the spring and have a more robust version.
Yeah.
But right
I
now, our
think that's a
goal is,
good idea.
for the shoulder season, we'll have something to disperse so that we can use as kind of a sounding board over what businesses and people are looking for.
Yeah.
It seems like they'll only be able to be a week to get back to us, so they would be ready for fall. Did I read that right?
Yeah, they
I
have a
think roughly
template.
Okay.
Both companies that provided quotes, they do this for other towns and cities. So it's not, a very large undertaking for them to provide these maps. It's more or less, now that the quote has been approved, is for us to provide them with an updated map that they actually can put on the pad.
I think it's a good idea to get that feedback, and then, like you say, build something that's comprehensive. Yeah.
Okay, good questions. Any others for finance? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. On to accounts payable. Councillor Freak, please.
Accounts payable for August the 1st, which you have in front of you, items number 1 through 51, excluding items number 11 and 47, for the amount of $138,712.65. Make a motion to pay the invoices.
All right, thank you. Moved by Councillor Freak, seconded by Councillor Fitzgerald. Call for question. Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried.
I'm going to step out for number 11.
Item 11 for B&S Trucking for $3,105, monthly dumpster rental and disposal, and make a motion to pay the invoice.
All right, moved by Councillor Freak, seconded by Councillor Jones. Call for question. Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried.
You're out. Item number 47 for Western Steelworks, $739.24. Hydraulic fittings, pipes, brackets, and pipes, etc. Make a motion to pay the invoice.
All right, moved by Councillor Freak, seconded by Councillor Hancock. Call for question. Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried.
The other one.
Oh, yeah, Kiri. Yeah, you stay down there, and I'll do... So accounts payable for August 18th. Item number 42, Western Steelworks for $2.83 for a flat bar. Make a motion to pay the invoice.
Moved by Councillor Freak, seconded by Councillor Hancock. Call for question. Is that the smallest invoice in the town's history? Okay. All right, motion.
$2.83.
All those in favor,
Yeah.
motion carried. Absolutely good sales.
Items number 1 through 44, excluding the 42, for $51,535.21, and make a motion to pay accounts payable.
All right, moved by Councillor Freak, seconded by Councillor Fitzgerald. Call for question. Hearing none, all those in favor, motion carried. That concludes. All right, moving on to environment and housing.
Okay, I'll do the oldest one first, July the 18th meeting. There was a meeting on July the 18th. Myself, Krista, and Town Manager Keith Park in attendance. As you can see, items number 1, the wake general repairs, these permits has been issued. Number 9 to 11 for decks and extensions, permits have been issued. For new dwellings, number 12 and number 13, which will be Murdoch Drive, and 2 of them for Murdoch Drive actually, permits have been issued. Land development permits for 3 areas, 1 Scott Drive, 23 Murdoch Drive, and 3 Murdoch Drive, permits have been issued. Permit applications on a new business, Drone Bee Photography on Elizabeth Avenue, approved. Number 18, Get Your Feet Done, and Tux Lane Pedicures, this also been approved. And outstanding items from the previous meeting is number 19 for frontage, for Loss's Lane. This, I guess, been all worked on now, was to take back to council to sign a quick claim deed, release interest in 3 blocks in front of the property, as per suggested by the surveyor, and 2 liars once the survey is completed. And number 20, this lady seeking to have goats in residential medium density zone. We deny this. We will only be allowed in rural zone as per Town of Deer Lake's regulation. I move that we accept the Environment and Housing Committees for the minutes for Tuesday, July the 18th.
All right, thank you. Moved by Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Fitzgerald. Call for a question. Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carried.
Thank you. And the other meeting was held on Tuesday, August 14th. Myself, Councillor Fitzgerald, Town Manager, Mr. Dave Thomas, or Town Manager Jason Young, Dave Thomas, Krista Jones, Keith Parker in attendance. Breakdown, I guess, for the new dwellings to date will be 12. Number 1 to 6 is general repairs. All these permits have been issued. And number 7, 8, and 9 are for decks and extensions. Permits have been issued. Accessory buildings, number 10 to number 14, for sheds and garages. These permits have been issued, meets our regulation. Number 15 for new dwelling is 1 Scott Drive. A permit has been issued. And number 16 for 28 Amanda Avenue, the renewal of this permit. This permit has been issued. Number 17, number 18 for Woodford Drive. 2 of these are for new dwellings. These permits have been issued. New dwelling for 3 Jador's Lane, approved pending once the variance is completed. And on the other section, the business here in town is looking to purchase Evergreen Lane. This is seeking to purchase land on the left side of our sewer lagoon. We recommend right now to deny this, as there is a study on the lagoon, and council, with your support, is now willing to sell any land in this area until we see the future development of our sewer lagoon. So I move that we accept the environment meeting minutes for Tuesday, August 14th.
All right, moved by Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Hancock. Call for question.
I just have a question about number 19 and number 13. So am I reading that correct? The dwelling is still awaiting approval based on variances and things, but the garage has been already approved?
Yeah, the garage has been approved, and the dwelling, we're waiting for a variance on that for approval.
Seems odd, but okay. What?
Okay. Good.
What's the discussion, sorry?
No, it just seems odd to have the garage approved prior to the house actually being approved.
I'll be able to get it for you now real quick if I can. Yeah. The house needs to be at least 30 meters in the back, 30 feet, sorry. So the house don't line up with the, I guess, the distance for the garage. So the garage is, because it's a weird, I guess it's a different piece of land. So the angle got to be here. So in order for to get the side yard, there got to be a variance here to meet this side of the house. So once the variance is done for the house, that we can move it back, she will line up inside the garage because of the jibber land.
The garage is not yet built, correct?
No. That's supposed to be anyway.
So what if it doesn't meet the variances, but you've already approved for a garage that
Just-
can't build a home?
Yeah, well, the house will.
The properties will-
Got to meet for the approval in order for this garage to work. So if the house don't meet the approval for the variance, the garage cannot be built the way it is.
Are you referring like to a real property report, or is that what you're referencing?
No, not completed yet. It's just a variance now to get, and once the variance is allowed, then we get a property report
Oh,
where the
okay.
plot plan actually goes.
Yeah, if you're looking for a variance, we shouldn't approve the garage until the property's done. If the property's not gonna fit on the plan.
One of the challenges I think there is that someone can walk into the office, say, "This is my garage plan." Permit can be issued from the town. That's a little bit of a.
The garage is a separate permit,
It is.
We can still do a permit for a garage.
so we don't have grounds to cancel the permit on the garage. We only have grounds to,
Yes.
if the variance does not pass on the actual dwelling.
They would.
It probably could have went that the permit for the garage was, will be approved once the house was approved. Because a garage is an accessory building to the house, so really, unless there's a house, they're not supposed to have a garage.
No, they can build a garage. Anybody can build a garage first. You just can't have water and sewer, supposedly. But
Well, you're
the house
supposed-
is okay, but where do you want the garage is okay, and where do you want the house to? The house will need a setback in order to, so if this don't work, you gotta change the drawing in his house, not the garage. You probably gotta make the garage smaller or narrower. That's my understanding, but definitely I will get clarification.
Garages shouldn't be approved unless there's a house on a property.
Following-
Or if they
following.
come in together as, like, on the same application, but where a garage is an accessory building, it shouldn't be approved unless there's a house approval as well.
I thought, yeah, because I thought we updated that in our regulations.
No, we approve garages all the time.
I don't think so.
We approve garages all the time separate. If people want to build a garage and more or less store the tools there before they start their house, and just convenience most of the
But
time.
but a
But
house.
isn't in that case, wouldn't the permit for the house though already be submitted and approved?
No,
No,
But a
you're right.
house-
Past practice has been, we've approved, the sticking point has been services, is that we won't run, because we run into problems where accessory buildings have been occupied. So right now, we wouldn't allow to have it until we've seen a real property for the house. And we have in the past given timelines to have the home built, but Darren's checking there now, but I don't think we have an ability to have a garage denied pending a house, because it's two separate applications that are
You
not
can-
tied to each other.
You can see the potential challenge though that could arise.
The only
Yeah.
thing here is that we have main buildings on a lot. A garage would be considered a main building on a lot. A dwelling would be considered a main building on a lot.
A residential lot though?
Yeah, so
So you
this
can
is
have a
for,
residential lot by definition without having a home on it, a residence.
could put a garage there, yes.
Um,
The only issue we have now, and we are gonna be looking at this in the very near future, anybody that put a garage up and we connect services to it, we're going, I guess in the near future, they're gonna be getting an update or a letter of some sort to see where to on the building. And we tried to help people in the past with this, and I guess a lot of grief over trying to stick to it and change to go against our regulations, so we are, I guess people will know now, I guess going forward, we're gonna be a lot more firmer on our connections, where we connect and what time we connect. But you can put a shed on it, and then, but just can't have no services, and then you can do your house after with your plot plan.
it's a very valid question.
Yeah,
Deputy
there's-
Mayor.
Oh, yeah.
It just seems a bit odd to me, so eventually you could have someone that builds a garage on a property that's, on Jador's Lane, sitting on Nicholsville Road, and they build a garage and never, ever build a home there.
Technically, yeah, to our regulations, yeah.
It's done in the past. Precedent is set. I think we had a talk about it our last meeting.
Actually, our last environment meeting, we had a line discussion on this, and we're gonna have a separate meeting very soon in the near future of
Yeah,
discussing.
there's a
the way
hole
we're gonna
there
go
that
start
needs to be
in the
filled.
future.
100%.
So, but an accessory building will be contained on the same lot as a main building and will be incidental and complementary to the use of the main building. So it has to be a main building in order to have an accessory building.
It doesn't say it has to be built first.
All I'm saying, you can have an accessory building there, but it gotta be a main building.
We
But
know
the
there's a main
but the
building
definition of
coming.
accessory is.
Anybody can come up and say, I probably should, come up and say, I wanna put a garage or 10 by 12 for argument's sake, and I put in my house here next year, and we're here, and we can prove that permit, and then next year, the applicant will come back and say, well, I can't, I told you to let this year, but I can't do it this year because financial difficulties. I will not proceed in my house until I don't know when. And you will, you know,
Permit's
obviously,
already issued, yeah.
it's a provision or just whatever you want to call it, excuse, but a reason you can't do it. And will not be, we will not contest it, because obviously we're not, we're in a court of law.
And does the real property report, does that impact that in any way? Like on the real property
They don't
report, do
need
you
it
have?
until the house, that's the
Oh,
challenge.
so you don't even need it for the accessory building?
No, and I think this is, but the real
There's
property
a hole
report
here.
came in so new, with this administration, I think it's somewhere where we were trying to see what the
We
real
talked
property
about
was
it.
first.
We talked about it.
Yeah, so.
There's definitely something there, though, that.
And I can, I mean, I can see, I know a lot of people would submit the house and the garage, of course, at the same time, even though it's two different papers and two different permits. But both would be, you can build the garage first, but I would expect that most of them would already have that house approval as well, even though they're not building it. And that's
So-
just where I see the difference here. Like that house is actually
I argue on
not
that, right?
approved.
No,
Considering
it's
the location and size of the accessory building in relative to the main dwelling, so how can you even
I see-
approve it without the main dwelling being there?
Yeah.
When you
Well,
have to
you can always
consider
change
the
it.
location and the size.
Well, like I said, you can always change the garage if your variance fails through.
I feel like if we took a hard look at our regulations, we might have a leg to stand on for some of what we're trying to do anyway. I don't know. I know they're not perfect, but
Okay, so I completely understand. It's a very valid question from the deputy mayor. In past practice, Councillor Jones has sat around the table longest, and it makes sense, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Deputy Mayor, that your concern is that someone occupies the space, you know, for domestic reasons when ultimately we can't provide services, water and sewer. Not to hold this, wanting to hold this proposal up, I guess, on this residential property, I would be okay with taking the recommendation from the chair and their committee at this point for this one particular, but I would recommend that we go back and divulge into taking a very much closer look in precedent setting. I know there's residents in your neighborhood, Councillor Hancock, that have similar files that have built primarily their, which makes sense as a contractor. If I
Yeah,
could have a shed
it's-
on site to build my own
but-
property, I think that's working with the residents, but we don't want to get ourselves tripped and say yay to one person and no to another. So I'm just gonna ask if, and I'll go round table, it's fair, that's the democratic process, but a call for question. I'm gonna call for those in favor of the motion. Those in
I can
favor of
say-
the motion?
Amanda?
well, you just to accept the environment housing report.
Yes,
Extra
report.
report.
Those in favor?
But again, I think it needs a good look. And
100%, and I'll call for question, but those in favor? Those against? All right, so we got
Two
1,
against.
2, 3, 4, 4 in favor, 2 not. All
Yep.
right,
We're good?
motion carried.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, folks. And that concludes your report, Councillor Jones. I just want to make one note, speaking of other municipalities, Bay Roberts is bigger than ours. I know there's been discussion around town of how many permits you put out for new builds and whatnot. And just to let council know that we are actually leading by, not the exact numbers, but per capita, Deer Lake's doing well. And I know sometimes people will question it's low numbers, high numbers. Lori, can we find out, maybe Carrie or Amanda or councillors would know, what was the least amount of builds in Deer Lake's history, like, say, relevant to the last 10 years, and what was the most? I can't recall those numbers, but I
They-
do
they
know
were
for
under
Catholic
10.
Deer Lake
They were under 10.
in the last 5 years, and this year,
Yeah, under
are
10.
still competing and above other communities that same size. Any idea, Dave?
Most we've had, since I've been here, 6.
Okay.
The least.
And what
Least.
was-
The least number,
Yeah.
6.
Most of 44. I remember we had 44.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good to know. All right, we shall move on to Department of Arts, Recreation, Culture Committee minutes. Deputy Mayor Young, if you would. And Councilor Hancock,
Yeah, I'll do
either
it.
or.
I'll do it. Yeah, so Department of Arts, Recreation, Culture met August 17th. In attendance, myself, Councillor Gordon Hancock, Councillor Brett Langdon, Councillor Melanie Young, Director of Recreation Glenn Wiseman, Town Manager Jason Young. Number 1, terrace seating at Deer Lake Beach. The Recreation Committee is looking into the cost to add terrace seating at Joe Butts located to be added to the 2024 budget. Light pole banners. The Recreation Committee is having artwork commissioned to be placed on pole banners along Commerce Street and Main Street. And currently, we are consulting with the artist and the schedule around the scheduling and the themes of the art. Number 3, the sliding hill relocation to Swartz Park. This is essentially just an FYI. The committee is examining the possibility of moving the sliding hill from the Powerhouse Field to Swartz Park. There's some considerations, so we'll get back to you on that one for sure. Tree audit number 4. The Recreation Department will be in contact with the greenhouse or similar agency to conduct an audit of some of the large trees in Deer Lake as well as the trees along Main Street to make sure they are healthy and to get recommendations to maintain the health of the trees. And that concludes my report. Motion to accept as presented.
All right, moved by Councillor Hancock, second by Deputy Mayor Young. Call for question. Go ahead.
I have a question with number 2, the light pole banners. Are these banners going to last?
They are, well, Glenn's been doing a lot of that work, and he assures me that they are bigger, first of all, because the other ones, it can be, one thing we learned, I think, is that it's going to be in a very big open space. And so when you're looking at it in a room, that's very different than when you're out in the world. And so they're going to be much larger, and they're also made of material that can withstand wind. Yes, we've
Okay.
learned from our past errors.
I think too, they're looking at different ways of actually connecting them so that they're not getting such a full load of the
Okay.
prevailing winds and stuff. So hopefully that will,
Yeah.
you know,
Maybe they're
stretch out their
perforated or something.
lifespan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually were speaking to suppliers, and
Okay.
they assure that they can withstand.
I just
it.
know that was a beautiful idea that was done in the
Yeah.
past, and unfortunately,
100%.
So
100%.
I'll just make a recommendation just for your committee, if, when you're discussing with the supplier, just mention Marystown. The mayor from Marystown brought it up. A couple residents from veterans that work, or are veterans, I guess, asked about themes of veterans. They do some in communities around veterans
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So just something to add there because. they-
Yeah, I think that's a great addition. I mean, really, you know, what the artist really wants is for a collaboration around what are those main themes. And so you may even see us coming to council for suggestion or trying to seek suggestion maybe from community. We'll see. We're still talking about it, but we have to decide on those themes.
And just to add that, Councillor Hancock, we do have an artist that we have, you know, I guess we can call it on a retainer. So what we have to do now, we have to, finalize some themes. So Mayor, you're right, many other towns, not only Marystown, do that. I mean, the Legion corridor would definitely be somewhere where the Legion will probably partner with you that you can identify, because when you think back to what we were planning for the Commerce Street sign, is that there was a military theme for the back of that when we're in the original design. So
That's true.
there is, we were thinking of seasons, but any artwork actually that the artist does for these will actually be owned by the town of Deer Lake. So we'll also have the ability for prints, so that if there's buildings that we want to own, or if it's the Legion, say, that wants some of this artwork, we'll have the ability that we can go back and purchase it from the artist for those purposes.
Yeah, it sort of in a way accomplishes the art procurement piece we've spoke about as well, because you get a bit of a double piece here, because you own the originals that they must create as well that allow for the digital imaging. So it's really cool.
So you're going to bring back, the committee bring back a couple of ideas of what they're going to do before we.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. No problem. Yeah.
Okay, that concludes. Any more questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. At this time, I'd usually put in the mayor's
No, there's two
Oh.
more reports.
Still public works.
Oh, no, it's after that, isn't it?
You still got the second recreation.
I only got, is there a second one?
Yeah, July 20th.
Oh, sorry about that, okay.
No, I didn't see that one either.
Well, here we are. Okay. Number 2, Department of Arts, Recreation, Culture minutes, July 20, 2023. In attendance, myself, Councillor Gordon Hancock, Councillor Brett Langdon, Deputy Mayor Melanie Young, Director of Recreation, Glenn Wiseman, and Town Manager Jason Young. Number 1, Legion Field. The Town Manager, Recreation Director, and Director of Public Works are looking into the water mitigation areas for the town and that funding and what funding might be available to be procured for. One potential location that has been identified is the Legion grounds. The new boat launch, number 2, a discussion was had about the safe boat launch and plans for continued development in 2024. For this year, we're doing some topo piece. Everyone knows that. Number 3, river buoys and the swimming area. All of the river buoys have been placed. Is that pronouncing that right? Buoys?
Yeah.
My goodness.
What do you want? What is it?
What?
We'll accept
I
boy
don't
if
mind
you want to,
I don't mind starting a discussion around the how to say buoy, but anyway, it just sounded weird when I was saying it. All of the river buoys have been placed in the Humber River, as well as the marker buoys marking the path for boat traffic into Deer Lake. By the way, I received tons of comments regarding that. It's really appreciated by boaters. The swimming dock has also been placed in the river with a dedicated swimming area in front of the dock that boat traffic is restricted to enter. Number 4, Deer Lake live update. We had the second annual Main Street Market and Car Show. It was well attended, and the committee and town staff heard a lot of positive feedback. We're looking forward to next year, and we'll be having a post-event meeting to ensure suggestions and learnings are incorporated as well. Thanks to council and staff for the support in making this another great year. And that concludes the report. Motion to accept as presented.
All right, thank you. Moved by Councillor Hancock, seconded by Deputy Mayor Young. Call for question. Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. All right, Councillor Fitzgerald.
This is the report for the Public Works meeting, August 15th, 2023. In attendance is Jason Young, Town Manager, Gordon Hancock, Councillor, Brett Langdon, Councillor, David Thomas, Director of Public Works, Scott Elms, Public Works Superintendent, and myself. Before I begin, Lori, do I need a separate motion for number 3?
Yeah, we'll do separate because it's a tender.
Okay. And I'd like to
And a winter
remove,
sand one too. 2 tenders?
okay. I thought that was awarded already.
It
Still a tender though, so
does say awarded there, yeah.
Okay, well,
But either way.
I'll do a separate motion for 2 and 3, and I would like to remove number 7 from the report. That's for further council discussion. We meant to do that in camera.
All right, so your request is to defer item number 7, correct?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you.
All right, to get started, number 1, paving Chapel Hill. As per the special meeting that was completed earlier, the job was awarded to marine contractors. They're hoping to have this work completed by the end of September, and are looking to start tomorrow. By the looks of the construction signs, I think we're there, so that's great. Nicholsville Bridge Lift Station, we will begin work this week on the new lift station that's got to be replaced. We're doing that work ourselves, which is great, our own staff. Number 5, apprentice mechanic. We have the applications shortlisted, the 3 candidates, and we'll be doing interviews in the very near future. Number 6, just as an update for Riverbank Road. Harborside Engineering has been there a couple times now and surveying the area. They are working on their final recommendation. A letter is to be handed out to residents of the area, just letting them know exactly what is occurring and our timeline. Gateway to the north. This is we like to install a new valve. It's new curb stop for the most part. Cost is minuscule at $500, and we'll have full control of the valve entering the campground, so we'll have control of the water. The existing curb stop owned by the property owner is in the ditch right now, and during the winter, it's very hard to get at, so it's best that we have our own equipment installed anyway. Number 9, this is an ask from the Treehouse. They would like the town to do in-kind donation by installing some structures, a new playground structure in the back, and doing a groundwork to accommodate these structures. I recommend doing that work, by the way, sorry. And just an update on the Trans-Canada Highway. I know there's been some issues with our residents lately. We're going to contact Transportation for an update on the status as a traffic study was being performed by the department. So I asked council to accept the Public Works meeting with the exceptions of 2, 3, and 7 of August 15th.
All right, thank you, Councilor Fitzgerald. Moved by Councilor Fitzgerald, seconded by Councilor Freak. Call for a question.
Excuse me, Treehouse donation, it says in-kind donation. So we got a mandatory allotment put aside for those guys. Would that become not the mandatory?
I spoke to
Or
them.
just over and above?
And instead of doing like the monetary one, they would rather have in kind.
Okay,
So,
good.
And just to add to that, part of it is to do, I know we brought it up in Public Works, but there is some recreational component because of the area that they want to put the structure in. We're looking at it's the surface, so the pea stone. So we'd be able to provide in kind, that if they can source the material, we can truck it and disperse it. We've actually brought land and recreation in as well because we want to make sure that the area is large enough. So anything they want to do for the children, there's a safe enough space outside of that. So it's kind of been two departments. And Lori's right, she's spoken directly as well as I to the Treehouse, and they prefer the in-kind as opposed to cash.
Okay, good stuff. And that'll be passed on to the superintendent and director.
Yep.
For completion. Okay, perfect. Any more questions?
The TCH, did we get any update on that bridge in front of the powerhouse? Like, are we hearing anything about that?
We haven't heard nothing directly from government. We hear some rumors, but that's.
Do you want to speak to that? Jason?
No, and just on the TCH traffic study, the mayor and I did reach out, I think it was Thursday last week, and I actually got a hold of Premier's office staff this morning and requested again that we need some updates on when it's taking place, because we specifically asked for summer months because we need peak season. We know obviously there's been some issues there more recently that's kind of heightened our awareness of the area. So I did reach out and actually reach out to the mayor today to make him aware that we are looking for an update this week on the timelines for that, because it's critical that once Labor Day approaches, if a traffic study is done in the fall, it doesn't give a true depiction over the most congested time to be on that TCH.
You know, sorry, just to add to that, but sort of one scary aspect of the TCH, and I'm not sure if it'll be in their study or not, but are people crossing, just like pedestrians walking across, trying to get from, say, motel to whatever, you know what I mean? And the other day, my spouse actually witnessed an elderly gentleman trying to get across the street, and he tripped on what appeared to be one of the waves and was down on his hands and knees for a time period, and traffic had to stop, and then he had to, somehow get up and then get across. It was a bit of an ordeal, but very dangerous, obviously. So I'm not sure if the pedestrian piece will be built in, but it's a tough spot. Anyway, just a little comment, that's all.
I can't emphasize how much communication we've had back and forth with the department, and as advocates of, local issues, we'll continue to that's where, again, we'll get more follow-up, hopefully something this is a file that's been in the works for decades, I'll say, and the more traffic and the more we boost about tourism and within the province, that corridor is one. It's a high priority, but
Well, I think we're doing the right thing by keeping it on reports and getting updates and encouraging and.
well, and that was one of the main topics myself and the town manager went to St. John specifically for, to sit face to face with the powers to be. So, and we'll keep pushing on that one. I just wanted to make where is it real quick? One question, sorry. Riverbank Road, the letter's done. It's going to be mailed out, specific target mailed. With that being said, there's a lot of questions in certain areas of community, and I don't know, but this is an open invite to anybody in council over the next 6 weeks. I'm going to say I'm possibly looking at doing 6 different sessions at neighborhoods open conversation. Public can come with their concerns or their wishes, or other than digital, set up on the corner of a neighborhood with a tent, pop-up tent. Council's more than welcome to come, but I didn't sit here. I don't think any of us sit here to not answer questions that people want to bring towards council. That's what we're here for. So I'll let everybody know when that happens, and we shall move in here. From there, it's not a digital thing. It's we'll post it on the town's Facebook page. Say, here you go. Here's your Q&A, and bring whichever questions anyone has, whether they're the fun questions or the hard questions. We're here to answer them. So just want to let everybody know that will be happening.
So Riverbank is, that was my next question. So normally when council does handouts, there's like an urgency or something. So you're saying that these letters are going to be mailed out and we're just advising residents what the engineers have found? Is that what's on the letters, Jason?
Actually, myself and the Director of Public Works, we reached out to the consulting firm that's actually doing the study right now, because we want to provide an update in terms of, we didn't want to have the interpretation that there's impending work to be completed, because we had actually reached out to them. We need to develop a plan. And in order to have access to any level of government for a capital plan, we need to have a firm behind that. So basically, this letter was written in conjunction with Harborside, in terms of making sure that residents are aware that, you know, the town of Deer Lake takes these issues on Riverbank Road very seriously, and we want to make sure that what we do is actually going to work and sustain that road, both short-term and long-term. So it's taken some time, but I got to say, Dave has reached out and done some good work with Harborside and making sure that the letter describes but doesn't leave any interpretation that there's immediate work coming afterwards, because this study will lead to possibly a discussion with council of a capital application based upon these recommendations. Yes. No, it was more or less that, I mean, you know, I know that council and the office here, we do get people that inquire, okay, you know, what is being done? So we agreed that a letter should go out, but we didn't want to put panic that there's no impending issues, but it is fair to provide that this firm has been hired by the town of Deer Lake to give us a plan that will turn into a capital application for repairs of that road.
Is there any concern that you don't, or is there any additions that you'd like to put in the letter, or?
No, when I read handout,
Yeah.
normally we've done handout when there's like flood issues,
When
water
we-
trees falling in the river, so I was like, what is the urgency behind the door-to-door handout? That if there's no work being done, we're just advising them, then, okay, sounds good.
For clarification,
Yeah.
basically. And this came from a discussion I had with Deputy Mayor. I said, you know, 70% of your population sees updates on Facebook and whatnot, and I have no issue, again, sitting down with anybody in public. If I'm willing to knock on someone's door, I'm willing to sit face to face for the next 4 years. And I want to say thanks to Deputy Mayor for coming up for that idea to go corner to corner, and that's what I'm willing to do. So everyone will be invited, and maybe even we can find some coffee or something, like you had mentioned, a coffee corner, which would even be more inviting to have people come. So all wonderful ideas. Any more questions or comments for the Public Works Committee meeting, or report, sorry? Hearing none. All those in favor, sorry, Councilor Fitzgerald, to drag it on, but all those in favor, motion carried.
Questions were directed at you.
Yeah, I have no issues. Everyone else answered the questions.
No hot seating.
Knock yourselves out.
All right.
All right, I have motion number one, supply of winter sand. Public Works recommends awarding the sand contract to Q&H. Hauling will beginning this September.
All right, moved by Councilor Fitzgerald, seconded by Deputy Mayor Young. Call for question. Hearing none. All those in favor, motion carried.
Okay, motion number two, with respect to the demolition of 28 White's Road, we recommend the award to William Perry Trucking in the amount of $6,800. The building will be demolished as soon as.
Just 1 second, sorry about that.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. So Councilor, for the record,
Retract.
Councilor Rich, or,
Sorry.
no, there's no conflict. Thank you, Councillor Hancock. Step out. Yeah, no, that's great.
Too fast. Too fast.
No, listen, that ultimately as a chair, I should have picked up on that,
Yeah.
and I'll apologize.
I should have got that too, Mr. Mayor. Sorry. All right, I'll try that again. With recommendation, with item number 2, second motion, the recommendation to. This, yeah. Yeah, number 3 was second motion, sorry. This is for the demolition of the dwelling on 28 Waits Road. We recommend to award to William Perry Trucking in the amount of $6,800. Building will begin to be demolished as soon as the power and water is disconnected. We are awaiting some environmental test results before this can happen, but our intent is to have this removed before school resumes. The biggest thing here is there's no asbestos, which is great. So I recommend to award the contract.
All right, moved by Councillor Fitzgerald, seconded by Deputy Mayor Young. Call for question. Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. All righty. Okay, as I said prior.
Sorry, can I just make note that during the meeting I stepped away as well? I don't know if we can
Yes,
note that
sir.
in there.
Oh, I have it
Okay.
right here.
Okay.
No, we have you covered, and ultimately that would be the fall on my shoulders. I didn't see it, sorry, as the chair, and then both of us, our apologies. So, moving forward, usually I would have a mayor's report tonight. I don't. If there's anyone that has anything to add, any new business, or feel free,
I just
please.
would like to quickly add that this week, Dr. John Kilty and Dr. Susan Russell will be closing their medical practices. John has been here for 16 years, Susan not long after. So I just want to say thanks for all the care that they've provided over the years. In addition to that, they were active in the community, so they will be missed.
Definitely.
Definitely, well said. I know in the Health and Wellness Committee had spoke about giving them notoriety of appreciation, and that'll you get that taken care of.
I'll add too, on a really positive note, today Zach Porter, who's from Deer Lake, day 1 of MUN Medicine, so he'll be class of 2027.
Awesome,
Yeah, so congratulations, Zach.
Way to go.
great stuff. All right, anybody else? I'd just like to say one note to, the Kilty's leaving the community, and it's a well-known name, obviously, when we grew up, with his dad, and everybody knows the importance of, primary care, and wish them well. I just hope John comes back around at some point to give some soccer tips, because I haven't seen soccer grow so well in the
true.
community ever, and I'd like to applaud him for his efforts.
And just for an update for everyone on the soccer, the girls actually lost tonight in the semifinals and the 12th kicker in a shootout. So Deer Lake hasn't had a very couple of good days of soccer. That they've played quite hard, but unfortunately the ball hasn't rolled their way the last 2 days in soccer matches.
All right, any more comments, questions, concerns, discussion? If not, we shall call for a mover to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Freak, meeting adjourned at 8:23.
to do it.